All right, so I'm gonna go to get started. Man, I always do that, man. Every time, man. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of a Champ podcast, episode 147. For today's episode, we're going to be discussing a topic that I'm surprised that I haven't discussed yet on this podcast, but nonetheless, it needs to be mentioned. And of course, through all the podcasts that I have done, I've covered pretty much majority of these things. This is going to be the downfall of many men. So if you're watching this right now, maybe you're doing some of these things, maybe you're not doing any of these things at all. More than likely, you're at least probably doing one of these things. So hopefully, I can make you a little bit more aware of these things, and hopefully, you can avoid some of these. And a few things I want to mention before I go and get it started. Make sure you go and follow me on TikTok, just Life of a Champ podcast on TikTok. Make sure you go ahead and also tap in with my YouTube shorts as well as my YouTube clips. If you can't catch a full podcast but still want to get the game that I be spitting, make sure you go ahead and tap in with those for sure. Got the short form content, got the medium, and obviously the long term content with this one right here. So, yeah, like I said, if you're tapping in, whether you're rewatching this or watching this live, I want you to go to let me know that you are tapping in. Make sure you go and leave in the comments for sure, for sure. So, like I said, today's topic, the downfall of many men. I'm going to be discussing truly most of the downfalls of many men. And if I do miss any, whether you're watching this or watching this live, I want you to go ahead and let me know in the comments because I want to make sure I got as many as I possibly can. And I like I said, I got majority of them for sure, for sure. So let's get into it, man. Let's get into it, right? So the first downfall of many men is going to be comfort or settling instead of striving for more. So one of the biggest things that can kill your goals, and I'm sure you watching this have probably heard this at least one point in your life. This is going to be just being comfortable, man. A lot of men they get into this state of them being comfortable, and they start to settle for a life in which they think is okay of living, right? And of course, this is gonna be the downfall, I would say, of the average man, and also the downfall of men that think that they're striving for more. So, for example, right, I'm sure you've heard the saying. This is like if you give him cheap entertainment, you give him an easy sex life, and you give him what is it? I think he said cheap entertainment. There's a few things, right? And basically, a man will sell off all of his goals just for these certain things. And I want to say that is going to be something that I've seen time and time again. And I'm sure you watching this have probably seen a man who's got all the things that I would say that are the most conventional things in life. They have them all, and then their dreams literally die. They literally die after that. And I feel like part of this comes with also finding a woman who's not encouraging you to strive more as well. That is going to be definitely a huge element of this comfort, but within today's society, it's not exactly going to be suggesting the best possible things for you. And with that being said, they're going to suggest a lot of things that feel comfortable, that feel really really good in the moment. It's this instant gratification, right? Society is going to suggest these things for you, and if you do fall for these things and you don't take the time to evaluate a more grand purpose for yourself, you're going to be settling. You're going to truly be settling, and you're going to think it's okay to sacrifice your goals and okay to sacrifice your future potential because in the moment right now you're living so good, right? That it's okay to sacrifice these things because you already have everything that you want, right? At least that's the way that I personally look at it, right? Um, yeah, that is one that I would say a lot of these specific things can truly be boiled down to being comfortable and settling instead of striving for more. But I think nonetheless, I think that was one worth mentioning for sure. The next biggest downfall, the next downfall of many men. This is going to be a huge one right here. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of things that can attribute to this specific one as well. This is going to be a lack of discipline. A lack of discipline is a lack of discipline is going to be a huge hole for most men, right? You watching this, you probably lack discipline in some type of capacity in your life, in which your life could be potentially better if you decided to take upon this responsibility and this discipline for your own life. Maybe this is going to be a lack of exercise. Maybe this is going to be a lack of sexual self-discipline. Maybe this is going to be um, a lack of discipline, so you procrastinate, right? There's going to be a lot of different things that can truly be boiled down to this lack of discipline. But nonetheless, if you're a man that is lacking discipline, you're lacking the structure that you need to implement within your own life, you're going to see it. You're going to honestly, hopefully, feel guilty for doing these certain things, right? This is something that I mentioned time and time again on this specific podcast because I just find it so relevant, right? this needing to feel guilty, right? And if you're truly not feeling guilty, if you're doing something that you know is wrong, automatically you should feel guilty, right? You're not intentionally striving to pursue your goals, you should feel guilty. And if you don't feel guilty, then you don't want it bad enough, truly. I'm at a point in my life where if I'm not doing what I know I need to do, I truly feel guilty inside. And it's kind of been this way for, I would say, a while now. Fortunately and unfortunately, right? This feeling isn't good if you're not doing what you know you need to do. And I feel like a lot of people could truly resonate with that message, right? I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect in any capacity. But with that being said, if you're lacking the self discipline that you know you need to instill, whether this is maybe you're holding on to certain habits or maybe you're hanging around certain people that are not exactly the right people, um, or you're not setting up your environment for success, right? Or rather, avoiding certain things that you know you need to avoid. Um, that's going to all come back down to lack of discipline, right? And I would say most men lack discipline in some capacity, like I'd mentioned. And one of these things, which brings it to my next point, is something that I think, unfortunately, a lot of people neglect. And if you're watching this, hopefully you're not one of these people. And I would really, really hope that you're not one of these people. This is going to be a lack of exercise. Truly, another downfall of most men. Most men do not exercise like they used to. And this in the 50s and 60s, this used to be such a different thing, such a different time, right? Where most men, I would say, it was actually very unpopular to be overweight or out of shape. Now, this is going to be something that I don't see as prevalent within today's society. I feel like if you're a man, even if you're a young man and you're in good shape, it's not particularly something that's common, unfortunately, right? There's going to be, of course, men that are in better shape, obviously, if you're younger. But nonetheless, I do believe that this is probably the oddest time in history where even if you're young and you're supposed to be in shape, you're supposed to be in damn near the best shape of your entire life. Unfortunately, most men aren't, right? Maybe they are, and maybe it's not. It's not up to the standard that should be held by society. Um, and it's truly pathetic. Like I said, if your grandfather or your father would probably be ashamed of you right now if you're watching this and you're not um, truly as in shape as you should be. You should, like I said, your ancestors will probably look down upon you if you're watching this and you do work out and you do the things you know you need to do when it comes to physical exercise. And this obviously doesn't apply to you, but I want to say this is going to be one of the biggest downfalls of many men. And if you're a man right now watching this, you're overweight. You're a man right now. You're not in the best shape of your life, or rather in the shape that you want to truly be in. Um, you're the only person that can change that for you at the end of the day. Unfortunately, people like to have all type of excuses and use all type of copes of why they cannot exercise, or I don't have enough time. I'm sure you've probably heard a lot of these things. Oh, I don't have the time. Like, how do you not have the time to make sure that you can last longer in this life? How do you not have the time? If you don't have the time to hopefully extend your life longer than what it could be without exercise, your priorities are fucked up. That's what it comes down to, right? You should not be sacrificing. You should be willing to sacrifice almost in any and everything to make sure you're in good shape, because we only get one body at the end of the day, right? I'm sure you've probably heard this as well, right? We only get one body at the end of the day. You got to make sure this is going to be that body that hopefully you take very, very good care of. And if if you're a person that's not taking good care of your body, then you truly don't want to live as long as you say you do. You truly do not want to be around with your grandchildren, right? That's going to be one of these harsh realities. And of course, a lot of people don't think of it like that because it's uncomfortable to say those certain things. But nonetheless, it's exactly what it is. I'm a person who is always going to be an advocate for good health, right? And if you're a person that's not striving to have good health, or if you're a person that is showing lack of discipline, because you're not exercising, that's going to be something that I'm going to stress time and time again, because it is something that I would say I've seen so much benefit, and a lot of the problems can truly be contributed. It truly be contributed back to the fact that that person doesn't exercise. Whether it's maybe you're feeling sad, or maybe you're feeling depressed, or if you're feeling any way that you feel like you shouldn't feel, right? I feel like a lot of this can truly be attributed back to a lack of discipline, and truly be attributed back to a lack of exercise as well. So that's why I'm a huge advocate for a healthy lifestyle, which, I feel like a lot of people, me saying this nowadays is probably going to be a little controversial, which makes no sense to me personally, but nonetheless, I'm still going to call you out. If you're not in the best shape of your life, you should be truly striving to be in the best shape of your life. Obviously, if you're older, you maybe you won't reach it. and that's okay because obviously you are older. But here, nonetheless, you should be trying your best, trying your best that you possibly can when it comes to physical exercise. And if you're not, then you're truly a waste of potential, in my opinion. Period. That's what it comes down to. It's harsh. Doesn't sound that flattering, but nonetheless, it needs to be said. Don't waste your potential, man. The next biggest downfall that I see within many men, and this is something that I kind of talked about a little bit earlier. This is going to be not hanging around the right people, right? This is an unfortunate reality that I would say a lot of men deal with, right? Whether this is men that truly do not have the best habits, so therefore you partake in some of these habits that a lot of men, I would say, a lot of men fall into, or maybe you just don't hang around the best crowd. Maybe you're unwilling to sacrifice some of these people in your life because they've been with you for such a long time, right? Nonetheless, here's the thing. At the end of the day, you are a product of your environment. You're a product of the people that you spend the most time with. If these people are not doing or being the best version of themselves, they're going to bring you down, right? You could do the most that you possibly can, but you could be striving and doing so much better with the right people. That's what it comes down to. And here's the thing. Maybe it is cope. Maybe you're saying, oh well, it could be worse. I could be hanging out with these certain people. If these people in your life, especially your friends, even your family, aren't striving to push you to your better self, then you're truly doing something. You're doing a disservice to yourself, and you're doing a disservice to your future family because of that. Like I said, it truly is that deep. It truly is that deep. So if you're a person right now watching this that is not hanging around the best people, who truly have the best in mind for you and your future life, you must truly analyze whether it's a possible consideration to sacrifice this person, because truly it's something that will affect you more than you know. And that's one of those things that I feel like is very, very unconscious. Of course, you can do your best, even if you're not surrounded by the best group of people. But you could be doing so much better if you did have those, if you did have that good amount of people, or that those good quality people around you, for sure, for sure. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say for that one. Like I said, if you guys have any comments or questions regarding anything that I'm mentioning, or if you feel like I'm missing one of the things that truly contributes to the downfall of many men, make sure you go and leave in the comments for sure. Give me 1 second. All right, getting into the next one. This is going to be another huge downfall that I see that many men truly, unfortunately, do not avoid, or rather, yeah, I would say unavoid. They don't take the actions that they need to go ahead and take. This is going to be men. Some men are going to be unwilling to take risks, right? And the biggest risk of all is not taking any risk at all, right? So if you're a man watching this and you're trying to evaluate specifically what's the next move that you're going to go ahead and do, right? And this is something that I hope you watching this is something that you're truly evaluating, because that's something that you constantly need to be evaluating time and time again to make sure you're on the right path, right? You need to evaluate what is the correct move. But here's the thing: if you're not willing to take any action or take any risk regarding what you're thinking about, you're truly living the life of a man who's truly on the downfall, unfortunately. You need to be taking action as a man. You need to be taking risks, more importantly. Even if it feels like the right move slightly, it could potentially be the right move. It could be the move that changes your entire life, right? Me, for example, I've taken a risk to go ahead and put a lot of my time and energy into this podcast because I understand and I have evaluated a lot of different business models I could have went ahead and chose, right? But nonetheless, I figured that this would be the best move for me because it's something that I truly can do, and I'm completely content with doing without making any money off of this right now, right? Of course, me down the line, I'm obviously going to be making money off of this, but right now, the reason why I know it is the right thing is because even if I don't make money, I'm still satisfied with doing it because I truly feel like I'm making an impact. I'm truly feeling like I'm doing the most that I possibly can. I'm giving out the information that I wish I had, and that is going to be a risk because obviously I take the risk, which I don't necessarily view it as a risk because I'm a person who's very confident in my abilities and my ability to get better, more importantly. But nonetheless, a lot of people could view this as a risk because they think, oh, maybe potentially he's wasting his time, right? You must take calculated risks within this life, right? But to take no risks at all and try to overcalculate and not truly put faith in yourself and your abilities, that's the ultimate risk because you risk all the potential, all the potential gain that you could possibly have by not taking action and not making a specific move, right? So that's going to be the downfall of many men. Obviously, another downfall would probably be taking too many risks, right? And I feel like um, I'd much rather be the person that takes too many risks than no risk at all, for sure, for sure. Because at the very least, if you take a risk, you could potentially have some type of reward. And here's the thing: if you take no risks at all, you have no rewards. There's no thrill to life. There's no thrill truly if you don't take any risk, right? If you avoid yourself from all risk, you're going to be a man that lives a very, very unsatisfied and unfulfilling life, truly, if you don't take any risks. So make sure you're taking calculated risk. Here's the thing: don't just be taking risks just to take risks. That's honestly, in my opinion, dumb. But take calculated risks, and you need to obviously research what you're going to go ahead and do before you go ahead and do it. But I definitely would recommend for you to go ahead and take the risks that you feel are the right risks, or potentially could be the right risks, or could potentially reap you the reward in which you would like. So yeah, that is definitely going to be a huge downfall of many men for sure. Getting to the next thing, this is going to be a risk in itself, and I feel like it's not necessarily the most conscious risk, but nonetheless, it truly is a risk. Especially if you're trying to achieve something that's worth having within this life. Another big downfall of many men, this is going to be having a lack of self-education or passion for learning, right? If you're not constantly trying to learn something new, constantly trying to evolve a mindset, constantly trying to evolve your actions, you're going to be on the path of a man who's on his downfall for sure, right? Only structured learning is only going to take you so far. If you evaluate the most successful people that have ever existed, they're all people who love to learn. They're all people who truly put emphasis on self-education. So if you're a person that's not willing to do that, if you're a person that wants to go ahead and do that, which if you're watching this, obviously, you're probably going to want a little bit more than what your current state of life is providing you with. And with that being said, if you're not taking the time to go ahead and get educated, whether this is reading books, whether this is researching certain topics that you find interesting, if you're not expanding your knowledge consciously outside of your entertainment, you're taking a huge risk, and you're not only taking a huge risk, but you're also contributing to potentially your downfall, because you're not furthering your education. And this is something that I would say is definitely became a lot more cool as of recently. But when I started doing this about 5 years ago, this was something that was a little less cool for sure within society. But nonetheless, I've evaluated time and time again some of the most successful people that have ever existed, and this is something that they recommend time and time again, which is going to be to make sure you're yourself educating yourself on certain topics that you find interest within. Because if not, like I said, structured learning is only going to take you so far. Truly, it's only going to take you so far. That's all I have to say. But yeah, make sure you just do some research on things that you find interesting. That's pretty much all I can say to you. That's all I did. My interests were bettering myself, and I went ahead and ran with it, man, because not only was it going to improve my life, but it was also something that I was truly interested in. So therefore, it was the perfect storm, and now I'm here, man. So yeah, definitely go ahead and do that for sure. But yeah, like I said, if you need any book recommendations, if you're a person watching this right now, and you need any book recommendations that have helped me out with self-education, I can definitely recommend that for you for sure. Getting into the next thing, this is going to be another huge risk and also a huge downfall of many men. This is going to be not choosing the correct career or business model, right? Or maybe your reasoning for choosing this career or business model isn't really within the best interest of you long term. This is going to be a huge fall of many men. If you're not able to evaluate truly what you want to do, evaluate your wants and needs and the lifestyle that you want to go ahead and have, and you make a decision based off of the potential financial gain that could be, you could be doing yourself a disservice later on, because you're not choosing fulfillment. You're choosing something that is of lucrative gain and not of true moral and value gain, right? This is going to be a huge downfall, because that's why you see some men that are truly living the most unsatisfied and unsuccessful lives ever, right? Even if they are succeeding within their job, if you look at their mental health, if you look at the way they treat themselves, if you look at their energy that they have, right? A lot of those men are going to be zapped of their energy, because truly they're giving all their energy into a career path that they know they wish they did something different, right? Or if they chose a different business, right? You don't want to be one of these people who chooses something and is living with the result of what they chose. And what they chose obviously wasn't something that truly satisfies them and truly fires them up inside, and truly something that they're very, very passionate about. If you're choosing a career path based off of financial gain, you're automatically choosing the wrong path, in my opinion. Now, could you potentially find some type of fulfillment within that? Of course, you probably can find some type of fulfillment. And here's the thing: you'd be lucky if you're choosing based off of lucrative gain, and you get some type of fulfillment, you're going to be within the minority, because most people right now that are working a job that they're truly not satisfied with, that truly does nothing for them, that truly does not contribute outside of lucrative gain to their own personal success, whatever they find and whatever they feel to be living a successful life. And that is a harsh reality that I recognize at a very very early age. Um, and it's something that, like I said, I would never recommend for anybody. And this is why I'm trying to help people out, is because I would hope you avoid yourself from taking a certain career path, or choosing a certain business model that you're truly not passionate about, right? Because here's the thing: in life, there's going to be a lot of hard moments, right? And the only thing that's truly going to get you through those hard moments is going to be the support of people around you, and also you pursuing the passions and the things that you're truly passionate about, right? If you're choosing to do something that truly gives you no fulfillment, that you truly don't care about, it's going to be a lot harder to do those certain things in those certain moments of where life is not treating you the best, right? For me, for example, I could have chose a business model a long time ago that wasn't this specific podcast, that wasn't a personal brand, that could probably make me more money than what I'm making right now. But nonetheless, I'd be unsatisfied with it truly, and I wouldn't be my motives wouldn't be in the right spot. I'll say that to the very least, right? My motives truly wouldn't be in the right spot. And when things got hard, if and when things get hard, I truly wouldn't be able to last. I wouldn't be able to be persistent. I wouldn't be able to be resilient. I wouldn't be able to maintain a certain mindset when it comes to approaching problems, because I truly wasn't passionate about it, right? And I feel like that's something that a lot of people, especially a lot of young people, fall into, is they try to select a business model, whether it's drop shipping or whatever, because there's a lot of potential money that could be gained from that specific thing. But nonetheless, if you're not passionate about it, it's gonna be very short lived, and you're not gonna be willing to go through the fire. And that is gonna be something that I recognize time and time again. And I'm like, man, no reason. There's no wonder you're gonna give up. There's no wonder, because you're truly not built for that. You're truly not built for that. And yeah, that's what it comes down to. Jaden said it's also completely okay to start over and find a different career. Some people know that they aren't fulfilled and stay because they always put so much time into it. Right? They already put so much time into it. Yeah, exactly right. You can always start over, right? This life is hopefully you believe this life is abundant with opportunities, and if you believe that, then it's okay to go ahead and start over, right? You have plenty of time left in this game of life, especially if you're watching this. If you somehow access this on the internet, you probably have a lot of time left. So if you're not doing something that truly brings you fulfillment, um, it's okay to start over, man. It's okay to find what's going to work best for you, even if you have to take a hit to your financial situation, right? I'm telling you right now, if you're in a position right now where you're deciding based on staying within a job because it provides you with good money, or choosing something that's maybe going to force you to take a bit of a pay cut, but nonetheless is going to bring you more fulfillment, I'm going to recommend you to go ahead and take the pay cut, because truly at least you'll be satisfied with inside, instead of doing a job that you truly do not care about, right? That's a very very fruitless existence, in my opinion. Of course, like I said, it'll give you the lucrative gain, but nonetheless, doing things for lucrative gain is not going to lead you in the right spot ever, and it's not going to be good for your mental health, in my opinion. That's why you see a lot of people doing their jobs and they're truly lifeless. They're truly just going through the motions. They're truly bored. They're truly not mentally stimulated at all, because what they're doing is so fruitless. Truly, it's what it is, man. And don't be one of these people, man. That's all I gotta say. Definitely avoid that. And if you are able to avoid that, you're going to be avoiding one of the biggest downfalls of many men, for sure. Getting into the next thing, this is going to be a huge downfall for many men. This is something that I've avoided time and time again, and this is something that I'm gonna recommend for all people to go ahead and make sure you make sure this is very very a strength as opposed to a weakness, because unfortunately there's a lot of people that have this as a weakness. This is going to be having a weak mindset, right? You can only improve your mindset if you believe there's potential improvement to be had within your mindset that you have right now, right? And you also not only think, but you also research what mindsets have helped other people within there's going to be certain struggles that you have right now. If you're able to evaluate another person who's been able to overcome the same problem that you have right now, what mindset did they have, right? You need to be an observer, and you need to adopt certain mindsets that other people have used within the same struggle that you're going through right now. And if you're able to do that, you're going to be in a good position. And I would also recommend you learning about certain types of mindsets before you even get into that certain situation, right? What's good? What's good? Appreciate it. Appreciate for tapping in, right? If you're able to learn about certain mindsets before you even get into that certain issue or certain problem within life, you're going to be in a good position because at the very least, you're going to remind yourself later on that you know exactly how to think within this scenario, right? This is something that I did time and time again. I learned a lot of different things and prepared myself for future problems that I will have, right? I did it 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm not going to have the problem until, like, let's just say next year or the year after that, right? But I prepared myself mentally by having the correct foundation of good, strong mindsets that will be able to help me and help me truly be resilient when it comes to coming across these certain problems. Because if I didn't have these things, when I came across these problems, I'd be nothing more than a broken person who's searching for something that truly maybe I will or will not find. But nonetheless, if you're a person right now and you truly believe you have a weak mindset, there's going to be another way, and I'm going to recommend one of my favorite podcasts that I've ever did. This is going to be how to cultivate an undefeated mindset. This is going to be a podcast that I would recommend for most people to go ahead and indulge within, because unfortunately, a lot of people do not have mindsets that truly suggest that they could live the best life that they possibly can. And out here, I'm trying to get you to live the best life that you possibly can. With that being said, if you're struggling with the mindset aspect of this, that podcast right there is going to be one of the best podcasts that you probably can ever watch. It's going to be filled with certain mindsets that have helped me, and that I've also viewed has helped a lot of people out. And go ahead and do that, man. Like I said, you're not gonna be hurting yourself by watching that specific podcast. I'm saying that right now. Getting into the next thing. This is also going to contribute to this is also going to contribute to having a weak mindset, and also contributing to potentially one of the biggest downfalls that man has. This is going to be a lack of resilience and a lack of adaptability, right? If you're a person right now who's going through struggles and you're not seeing the positive of the struggle, if you're not um if you're not seeing the positive within the struggle, because there truly is positive within the struggle, which in itself is your own mindset. But yeah, if you're a person right now that's going through something, and or maybe going through a new challenge, and you're not being adaptable to your certain circumstance, you're truly not going to be in a good position, right? You need to be adaptable. You need to figure out what it takes to be adaptable. You need to be able to, like I said, it's all going to come down to mindset at the end of the day. If you're a person that's not adaptable, it's going to come down to your mindset that you have. If you're going to be a person that's not going to be resilient, it's truly going to come down to the mindset that you have. The identity that you sell yourself on when it comes to these struggles that will inevitably come within life, right? Um, develop a very, very bulletproof and strong mindset, because if you don't, you're going to have to deal with the consequences of a weak mindset. And like I said, I see it too often where people have a very, very weak mindset, and it's honestly one of the saddest things that I've ever observed, because they truly believe they truly don't believe things that can potentially contribute to the life that they want to live, that the life that they truly, truly want to live. And if you're a person that wants to live an extraordinary life, you must cultivate great mindsets that will help you through those struggles for sure. I'm getting into the next one. This is going to be a huge one right here. If you're watching this, make sure to go ahead and leave a comment. Like I said, if you're watching this live, definitely let me know. If you're watching this afterward, let me know as well. I'll definitely respond to comments. If you have any questions or anything that you want to go ahead and add or contribute to the podcast, definitely go ahead and let me know in the comments for sure. This next one is definitely going to be a huge one right here. One of the biggest downfalls of many men is them being too emotional, right? In a life where we have probably one of the most emotional stages that man has ever existed within, where society is convincing you that it's okay to be showing your emotions as a man, when women are even suggesting you to go ahead and express your emotions as a man, even though they don't know the repercussions of that when it comes to attraction. If you're a man who's being too emotional, if you're a man that's being too emotional, you're going to see the repercussions of those actions, right? And I'm not saying you can't feel emotion. As a man and as a human being, you're going to feel emotion. But now how you process and go about that emotion is going to say a lot more about your character than pretty much anything else will. When I say being too emotional is going to be one of the downfalls of many men, I'm looking kind of at the certain different types of feelings that men have that truly women don't exactly express all the time. This is going to be things like anger Anger is going to be a huge potential driving force for men. And if you see a man who's too overly emotional and he becomes angry, he's going to be a very, very dangerous and unpredictable man. And of course, nobody wants to be around those certain types of people. And a lot of those certain types of men find themselves within jail because, quite frankly, it is truly a downfall. It is truly a downfall. So if you're unable to be stoic, and obviously stoic means basically being not moved by your emotion, feeling your emotion in its entirety, but not being completely controlled and moved, and your actions being dictated based off of emotion, you're going to be in a good position, right? That's going to be more of an ideal to strive for right now. If you're watching this and you're an emotional man, whether maybe you express a lot of negative emotion, which is obviously going to be another downfall of many men. If you're a man watching this right now and you're expressing a lot of negative emotion, it's 100% going to be a downfall. There's going to be a lot of moments that truly will test you within this life, and if you're not built for the test, then you're going to see the repercussions of those actions 100% of the time. So when I say don't be emotional or too emotional as a man, um, and truly it being the downfall of many men, don't be a person who's going to be too sad. And of course, I say that too sad, right? How can you truly control sadness, champ? By not being moved by that emotion. It's okay to observe that feeling, but not every feeling needs to be expressed. There are certain times where something happens to you within your daily life where you have the choice of what emotion to feel. If somebody cuts you off in traffic, you can express that anger or you could let it go, right? You could literally step out of your car and handle that man right then and there. Obviously, that wouldn't be particularly ideal in any capacity. Or you could say it's not that big of a deal, and not be moved by that emotion, which will then turn into action. Of course, don't be too emotional. That's all I have to say, man. It's the downfall of many men. A lot of men, they take their anger out on a lot of different people, and it definitely doesn't result in the best thing for them, right? A lot of men who are very, very emotional when it comes to, let's just say, a sad emotion, they truly do not live the best and most fulfilled lives possible. Like I said, I'm not saying you can't feel as a man. I'm saying you can feel an emotion within its entirety, but nonetheless you should not be moved and controlled by your emotions because emotions come and go. They come in waves, but they're not here to stay, right? One second you can be sad, and the next second you can be happy. But nonetheless, don't let your negative emotions truly control you and your life because you're literally going to regret it. And that's the last thing you want to do is live within regret, for sure, for sure. A lot of opportunities can be lost because of a man who can't control his emotions. Be a person who's going to be a stoic, strive for stoicism, and you're going to be in a good position, right? Moving on to the next thing. This is going to be a huge downfall of many men. This is going to come in and look different in many ways, but one of the biggest downfalls of many men is them not being personable, or maybe they're not even good at working with people. That's going to be another huge downfall of many men. This is going to lead um, to lack of social awareness or a lack of social ability. You might not be able to network, or maybe you might not be able to meet that person who's supposed to give you that opportunity that you're supposed to take advantage of within your life. And by you not being, kind to others, or you not being social, this could limit your potential within life because truly, if you meet somebody successful, the only way you'll be able to truly build that relationship with that person that is truly worth having is if you're a person that is personable, right? If you're a person that gets along with people. If you're a person that doesn't get along good with people, that's a you problem. That's not a them problem. You could blame it, and sometimes you'd probably be right, where you could blame it on the other person, and that's fine. But most of the time, it's probably going to be a you problem. So therefore, you need to go ahead and adjust that and make the necessary changes that you must for your life. Because truly, if you don't want that to hold you back, that's going to be something that's going to be worth your time. And it's going to look different for every single person, of course, and it's going to look different to get better within that for every single person. If you're a person who's shy, if you're a person who's maybe overly aggressive and mean, maybe a little spiteful towards life, nobody wants to be around people like that. And here's the thing: if you're shy, you need to learn how to start having conversations, how to start meeting people, how to start making friends. You need to do these things because if you don't, you're going to be living a lackluster life. And if you're watching this and you don't want to live a lackluster life, then you need to go ahead and make the adjustments necessary where you see fit. And it is one of the most essential skills within life in general, right? If you're a person that's not able to make friends, or you at least believe that you're not able to make friends, Like I said, you can blame people all you want, but truly, if you don't take accountability for your own life, then you're never going to make the change, right? Definitely a huge downfall of many men. Make sure you're good with people. Make sure you're constantly striving to be better when it comes to handling situations that require more people than just you. And like I had mentioned, right, another element of that is not being able to network, not being able to meet the right people who are supposed to give you the opportunity that you need within this life. If you're shy, if you're a person that doesn't get along with people, right, you're going to miss out on those specific opportunities. And like I said, you're going to be living the result of that. And of course, it's probably not going to be the best thing for sure, for sure. So learn those people skills. That's all I have to say for that. If not, you're going to be living one of the biggest downfalls that men could ever exist within. All right, getting into the next thing, this is going to go hand in hand with not being personable, but nonetheless needs to be mentioned, right? One of the biggest downfalls of many men is not having the right support or not having the right partner, right? Whether you are a man or a woman, more importantly, if you're not having the right woman next to you, or if you don't have the right support around you, whether this is your friends or your family, um, that's definitely going to be the downfall of many men. Even if you have the right mindset, but you don't have the right people around you, the right support that you truly need, because everybody in this life is going to need support. You're not going to be, no one's going to be able to do anything great within this life without the support of somebody, right? Like I said, more importantly, your family. If you don't have support from your family, this could be potentially one of the biggest downfalls that ever exists. Maybe you needed it. Maybe you needed it and you didn't get it, or maybe you needed the right partner and you didn't have the right partner, right? This could be a huge downfall. So that's why I stress for men to make sure they're making the right decisions with their life, and more importantly, with the women that they choose and the people that they surround themselves with. Because if not, you will live one of the biggest downfalls that the world has to offer for man, for sure. So, um, yeah, make sure you evaluate your circle very, very intensively, and making sure you surround yourself with the right people. Because if not, they will bring you down. If people are not lifting you up, they're bringing you down. If you don't have the right people supporting you, they're doing the complete opposite of supporting you. Whatever that looks like, I don't even know. I don't even know the word for that specifically. But if they're not supporting you and supporting your best version of yourself, then they're truly promoting the worst version of yourself. Let's just say that. And like I had mentioned, and people will mention this time and time again, one of the worst decisions you possibly can ever make, and one of the most important decisions that you will ever make, is the woman that you settle down with. If this is not the right person, and you decide to stick with this person, and even though they're not the right person for you, you're going to reap all the negative side effects of that. And some people, an entire empire can be ruined based off of the partner that you choose, right? Make sure it's the right person, because if it's not the right person, man, oh my god, you're gonna live a life full of regret, man. And that's gonna suck, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Give me 1 second. Getting into the next thing, I'm gonna name a few different things right here. I'm gonna combine these all within one. One of the biggest downfalls of many men. This is going to be being distracted, and there's going to be plenty of distractions that exist within this world. But I'm going to mention the few that I recognize time and time again that I feel like a lot of people get caught up in. And especially if you're a younger man, you're definitely going to get caught up within these things. So nonetheless, you need to definitely hear me out when it comes to these certain things, right? This is going to be vices. This is going to be drinking, smoking, doing all types of drugs of choice. Most of them, I'd say 98% of them, truly have no good utility within this life and are nothing more than just satisfying a very, very unfulfilled part of your life. I'll say that for sure. If you're a person who feels the need to seek these things out, truly seek these things out, and you cannot live without them, there's some peace within your psyche that you need to go ahead and fix, because you should not be feeling that specific way. A lot of people try to cope, and the ways in which they cope is they go to vices, right? Vices are going to be things that make you feel good within the moment. But if you truly felt good within the moment, outside of those vices, that's going to be particularly more of an ideal existence than seeking a good feeling elsewhere, right? You should already have that good feeling within yourself, and if you don't, like I said, you need to do some minor tweaks. Maybe you don't have the right motives. Maybe you haven't made the right decisions for your life. Maybe you're limiting your potential. Who knows? But at the end of the day, if you're deciding to do these things and do them with an excess, and most importantly, there's surely something wrong with you and the way that you view life. That's all I'm gonna say. You can take that for what it is. Maybe that's not something that's going to be the most flattering thing to hear, but nonetheless, you need to hear it. So vices, that's definitely going to be one of them. Another distraction is going to be partying, and along with partying, probably is going to come women. So those things can go hand in hand, but nonetheless, those are going to be super important aspects of what I define as distractions. So partying, right? Maybe you're lacking some type of um, social setting. Maybe you're lacking that, and you seek that out through partying, right? Partying is truly not going to be the best alternative for social settings. Now, time and time again, of course, that's going to be something that you could potentially do. But if you're a person that is seeking that every so often, every week, I would say every week or every few days, right? This is not something that's going to be particularly in your best interest, because if you look at the type of people and look at the quality of people that are indulging within that same thing that you're indulging in, they're truly not of the highest quality. Now, of course, if you're young, you're going to have a little more lenience to this, but nonetheless, you need to be strict on these things moving forward. You can recognize what it is for what it is, right? But nonetheless, just know that these things are not going to be contributing to the best life that you possibly can live, and these things are going to be holding you back. Whether you would like to admit it or not, you can tell me whatever you would like, whatever cope you want to tell me, but nonetheless, this is what you have to hear, not what you want to hear, man. So partying, definitely a huge one. Like I mentioned earlier, another distraction. This is going to be women for sure. Most men truly are a victim of this, and most men. I'm gonna say most men. A distraction. One of the biggest distractions you possibly can have within this life is the overabundance of women, right? The possibilities that are endless, right? What you could potentially have, right? This entire thing is a huge thing that I've thought about recently, and if you're a person that truly doesn't have quality people within your life, quality women within your life, women will always be a distraction. And if you recognize some of the biggest and some of the most successful people, that is truly some of their vices is women. And it is a bottomless pit, like GDP had mentioned. Shout out to GDP. It is a bottomless pit. And same thing with all these other things. You can never do enough partying. You can never do enough drugs or enough vices. These things are going to be bottomless pits, truly bottomless pits when it comes to you trying to fulfill that desire, fulfill that distraction, right? Another thing with this, and this is going to go hand in hand with women, this is going to be another distraction. This is going to be sex in general, and more importantly, a lack of sexual self discipline. Um, that's another distraction that truly is a bottomless pit. You truly can never get enough of these certain things. So, with that being said, if you can never get enough, what is the most fulfilling option on the board? That's what you have to realize. That is what you have to evaluate early on in the game, because if you do not, you'll be living one of the biggest downfalls that exists to man truly, right? So with that being said, right, a distraction to try to have sex, right? If you're a man, and this is something that I've been tested time and time again on, and time and time again I have prevailed because I'm a man who adopted the identity of a man who's truly disciplined within his sexual desires. If you're a person that truly can't get enough of this is something that, like I said, you're going to have to evaluate what is the most fulfilling option on the board. Is it finding a wife, or is it finding the next girl at the next party, or is it sleeping with the next girl? What is the most fulfilling option, and you must strive for that, right? And of course, there's going to be positives and negatives to both of these things, whether it's the choice of fulfillment or the choice of the bottomless pit. Let's just say that, right? But nonetheless, you evaluate what is the most meaningful to you, what is the most fulfilling to you, and you indulge within the best that has to offer, and you also take on the negatives, or what could be perceived negatives of these certain things. But nonetheless, you always make the decision what is the most fulfilling, what is truly going to bring you the most meaning within this life. And if it's whatever that is to you, then you go for that, right? But it's probably going to look like, hopefully, finding one woman and finding a wife and building a family. Because if it doesn't look like that, I truly have not seen a man who's fulfilled who doesn't have those certain things. That's just me, though. That's just me. Another one of these distractions, and I'm gonna say it nonetheless. Like I said, I don't care what you have to say. If you're a younger man watching this is something that you're going to need to get over with. If you're an older man watching this is something that you should have got over with a long time ago. One of the biggest distractions that does exist within men in general, this is going to be another one of these instant gratification things, right? And one of these false perceptions of building progress. This is going to be video games, right? I'm a person who's truly stopped playing video games like by myself since I was 18, right? I'm 21 right now. This is something that I'm gonna recommend all men to go ahead and do, and eventually grow up, truly grow up, and get rid of this distraction, because it truly is a distraction. Unless you're making money off of it, it's a distraction at the end of the day. It's giving you this false perception that you're truly making progress in something in which you're not making progress in within. And that's just what it comes down to. It's that harsh reality of life, and I do believe it's part of maturing. And if you're not able to make this sacrifice, you need to reevaluate something, right? Maybe you're not, like I said, the only way you would even go to these certain types of distractions, the only way you're even attracted to these certain type of distractions is because it gives you this false perception of progress. Maybe you're lacking something with inside. Maybe you're not doing enough. Maybe you haven't done enough. So you think that making progress within these certain things is going to bring you some type of fulfillment, when in reality it's just a distraction at the end of the day, right? Now, I'm not going to say this isn't a hard sacrifice, right? Or any of these things, vices, partying, women, sex, whether it's video games, whatever it is. I'm not saying that these things are easy to do, right? And it is why it's one of the biggest downfalls of many men. These things aren't easy to do, but these things are not particularly made to be easy to do. We have a social programming that's been instilled within us since we were born, that's going to suggest that these things are going to be the best things for us. But in reality, when you evaluate the people who are the most successful, the people who are most fulfilled, they don't do these things. They don't indulge within these things, right? And you wonder why. And you look at the people, just evaluate, take an evaluation for yourself, right? I'm just giving you my personal observations. Evaluate the people who are living the most unfulfilled lives that possibly can exist within this life. Are they indulging within vices? Are they indulging within women? Are they indulging within partying? Are they indulging within sex? Are they indulging within video games? And I would say yes. I would say time and time again, yes, they are. My thing is this: at the end of the day, I've always lived my life like this. I observe the most successful people and the most fulfilled people, and I want to live a life like them, right? Whatever that looks like. And I also want to that's going to be more of a heaven scenario, right? It's a heaven scenario, right? Then you also evaluate the people in which lives you don't want to live like, right? That's going to be the hell like scenario for you, hopefully. What is the biggest downfalls of these certain type of people, right? I'm making this podcast because I want you to open your eyes, right? For the biggest downfalls of many men, right? If you recognize, maybe it's the bum on the street, right? Why is that person in the position that he's in? Evaluate it. You can have a conversation, or you can just observe. It's probably going to come down to one of these things that I'd mentioned on today's podcast. It's probably going to come down to one of these things. And it's probably going to come down to the distractions that I had mentioned within the last 10, 15 minutes of this podcast. But nonetheless, I'm going to mention these things because these things need to be mentioned. And like I said, I'm not saying that these things are going to be easy to sacrifice, because they're definitely not. But just because they're not easy to sacrifice doesn't mean they're still not a necessary sacrifice. These things are all going to be necessary sacrifices if you want to live the most fulfilled life. If you don't, keep doing you, keep living the life, and of course, you're going to have to live with the result of that. Me personally, I'm not a person who wants to live with the result of that, so therefore, I go ahead and make the decisions that's going to reap me the most benefit and also reap me the most fulfillment within this life. Do you? I'm just giving you the advice that I wish I had at an earlier age. That's it. Getting into the next thing. In order to avoid some of the biggest downfalls of many men, this is going to be avoiding the most simplest things ever, but nonetheless, I feel like I need to mention it because truly it is going to be one of the biggest downfalls of many men. This is going to be lying, stealing, and cheating. Nonetheless, those certain things, if you do those certain things, you can't not expect for that to happen to you. If you lie to somebody, you should expect that somebody will lie to you. What it comes down to. You can't expect to tell the truth. You can't tell the truth and not expect the truth back, right? I feel like that's just that seems very, very logical to me. So with that being said, I'm not to say if you tell the truth always, not to say people will always and only tell you the truth. Of course, that's not realistic. But nonetheless, the more you tell the truth and the more you avoid lying, the more lies will be avoided from your life. That's what I will say. But nonetheless, lying, stealing, and cheating, right? Don't cheat. Don't cheat. Whether it's don't cheat on your partner. Don't cheat within your life. Don't cheat yourself. More importantly, don't steal. Don't steal from others. Don't steal from stores. Don't steal in general, right? Because here's the thing. I believe, and you can believe whatever you would like, right? I believe in karma myself. So therefore, I would never want to do these things because I would never want these things done back on me, right? And that's going to say a lot about your character for sure. So if you're a person that doesn't want bad luck or bad karma, you need to avoid these things as much as you possibly can. And now, like I said, I'm not saying that these things are particularly easy to do, because they're truly not. To tell the truth all the time is a hard thing to do. For some people, stealing is something that's hard not to do. For some people, cheating is very, very easy to do, right? But nonetheless, just because it's easy to do, just because there's some type of, there's, let me mention this, right? The reason people even do any of these things, is because they believe that there's potential benefit that could be had of this, right? And here's the thing: maybe if you do steal, maybe if you do lie, maybe if you do cheat, maybe there is some type of incentive in the moment right now. But when you're looking at life as a marathon and not a sprint, maybe sprint wise, maybe that could potentially benefit you. Maybe you lying to somebody could potentially benefit you and get you out of a certain situation. Maybe, right? Maybe stealing in the moment is going to give you exactly what you need in the moment. Maybe, right? Maybe cheating in the moment is going to give you that satisfaction right then and there, right? But here's the thing: if life was short term, I would say go ahead and do all these things, because that would reap you the most benefit within the moment right now. But here's the thing: life is long term. And with that being said, the reason why you must avoid these things is because these things will always come back to you. If you cheat on somebody, you should expect somebody to cheat on you. If you steal, you should expect somebody to steal from you. If you lie, you should expect people to lie to you. To expect anything else is living a life that's unrealistic, right? With that being said, like I said, I'm not saying that there's not potential benefit of doing these things. I'm not going to say that because, like I said, the reason why people even do it in the first place is because they've convinced themselves in their own sick mind that is the best move on the chessboard for them to go ahead and do, because it avoids them from responsibility. But life is about taking responsibility and about avoiding these certain things. Like I said, if you want to avoid bad karma, if you want to avoid bad luck, don't do these things, because if you do, then you should expect it to come back to you, for sure, for sure. Definitely one of the biggest downfalls of many men. Don't do these things at all. Getting into the next thing, this is going to be a trend that I see a lot more frequently, and this is going to go hand in hand with materialism, which is going to be another biggest downfall of many men. I'll pretty much group that within the same thing. Materialism in itself is something that I can go on and on about. I could truly make an entire podcast based off of this. You see a lot of people not valuing the correct things within life. One of the biggest downfalls of many men is men who put money at the top of their value hierarchy above everything else, right? Oh yeah, I'm chasing the bag, bro. Oh yeah, I'm just doing it for the money, bro. I'm doing it for the money, bro. You sound like an OnlyFans girl. Truly. If you create a business just for the money alone, you start a business just for the money alone. Come on, man. It's one of the most idiotic things that I see done time and time again, and it's something that I feel like a lot of people have truly been misled by society with, and these people have let it happen to them. And like I said, that's partially on them. But at the end of the day, if you value money over some of the most important things in life, like I said, I would say money's probably a top 15, maybe top 20 value for me. There's so many things that I put above money. So many things that I put above money. And here's the thing: if you evaluate the people that have a lot of money, they did not put that money's probably going to be within that 15 to 20 range as well for them. That's just what it is. Because here's the thing: when people get to the point where they have an abundance of money, here's the thing: they no longer give a damn about money. They no longer prioritize money, and then they start figuring out exactly what life is truly about. If you're able to figure that out early on, maybe even before you have money, you're going to be in a good position, because your money isn't going to be ruled. Your life isn't going to be ruled by just having money, or just striving for money, or doing things for money. That's very hedonistic, very hedonistic. Like I said, it's very materialistic, and like I said, of course, everybody's gonna want a lot of money. Everybody's gonna want the nice things that life has to offer. But nonetheless, to be prioritizing that above a lot of other things that truly should need to be prioritized and need to be valued above money is ridiculous. People will sacrifice their whole lives just for a little bit of money. People will sacrifice their morals and values just for financial gain. People will make themselves look like a damn fool in front of millions of people just for money. Don't be one of these people. Truly do not want to be one of these people at all, man. It's very, very sad. It's a very, very shallow existence, in my opinion. You can do whatever you would like. I'm just giving you the advice that I wish more people could take, man. That's all I'm going to say. Getting into the next thing, this is going to be one thing that I probably should have mentioned early on in the podcast. One of the biggest downfalls of many men, this is going to be having a lack of purpose within this life. A lack of clearly defined purpose. That's a huge downfall of many men. And also, not having a clear vision for the future that they want to live. If you're a man right now who lacks purpose, a clearly defined purpose, or if you're a man who lacks a clearly defined vision for their future self, you're truly living the existence of a man who's on his downfall. The men who are truly not on their downfall, who are not literally preying on their own downfall, those men have those two things in common. They have a clear purpose that's defined, right? And they have a clear vision for their future self. If you lack both of these things, I'm going to recommend more than almost damn near anything to make these things very, very clear. Create a heaven and a hell scenario for yourself, especially for your vision, right? Your vision should be something that you can come back to. So I would recommend writing it down because you can envision the life that you want to live. But here's the thing. With any and every thought, these things go away. You need something that you can rely back onto that's going to remind you of the things that you truly need to be reminded of. You need to make sure you have a vision for yourself and for your future self, more importantly, that's going to be very, very clear. What do you want in this life and what do you not want in this life? What lifestyle do you want to live and what lifestyle do you want to go ahead and avoid, right? Figure these things out for yourself and you're going to be in a good position because, like I had mentioned, if you do not have these things clearly defined for yourself, you're going to be living the existence of people who are truly on their downfall, right? That's what it comes down to. And yeah, I want to reiterate a little bit back on the thing that I mentioned with a lack of clearly defined purpose. If you're a man who's not living a very, very purposeful life, you're going to be doing things like I had mentioned earlier, which are going to be the distractions. You're going to be more inclined to do those because you truly do not have a mission set out for your life. You're going to be more inclined to do those certain things because those certain things give you the illusion of progress. They give you the illusion of you having a purpose, right? They give you illusion of you spending your time effectively when in reality you're truly not, right? Nonetheless, one of the biggest downfalls of many men is, like I said, lacking clearly defined purpose and truly not having a clear vision for their future self. Do not be one of these men because if you are truly one of these men, you're going to live the result of those men that you truly do not want to be like because that's just what it is at the end of the day. Don't be one of these men. That's all I got to say, man. I have a few more left. Like I said, if you guys have any specific comments regarding today's topic or any questions regarding anything, make sure to leave in the comments, man. But I'm almost at the end. Appreciate you for stopping by. Like I said, if I've missed any at all, if there's anything that you think was very, very important to go ahead and mention, whether you're watching this or watching this live, I want you to go ahead and leave in the comments because I want to make sure everybody gets all the information that they need when it comes to this specific podcast. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, we're trying to bring everybody up, man. We're trying to bring everybody up, man. And with that being said, I need to make sure I clearly define all these things for everybody so they can go ahead and avoid these things. And hopefully you can refer back. Maybe you see yourself falling within some of these temptations, some of these distractions, or some of these biggest downfalls. At least you'll be able to recognize exactly what's happening and you'll be able to take hopefully a course of correction. Because if not, then you're going to live the result of that. And like I said, it's not a desirable result in any capacity for sure. So give me 1 second. All right, so 3 more left. 3 more left, fellas. One of the biggest downfalls of many men, this is going to be an important one right here. This is going to be letting society kill your drive. Like I had mentioned before, society truly does not have the best intentions in mind for you. And with that being said, society is meant to drag you down. Society is meant to blur your vision. Society is meant to distract you, right? Push you farther and farther away from your potential, your true human potential, whatever that looks like to you, whatever you believe that it is, right? Society is going to constantly push you away from this. It's going to convince you of otherwise. It's going to convince you that you don't need it, right? The more and more you listen to that, the more your drive is truly going to be killed, right? Truly a downfall of many men. If you look at the men that truly have not achieved anything great within this life, they've let the they've let society brainwash them to the point where they believe that they can't achieve something great. They're confined to all these certain things, and of course there's going to be a lot more that contributes to that. But nonetheless, like I had mentioned, and I will continue to mention for the rest of my existence, society never has the best intentions in mind for you. Look at the people around you. Look at all the problems that society has right now. Do you think society truly has the best intentions in mind for you? If society truly had the best intentions in mind for you, I'm going to give you one example. I'm going to give you one example and one example only. If society truly had the best intentions in mind for you, you would see everybody suggesting to everybody to go ahead and exercise. You don't see that happening. With that one small example, that truly could change your life and truly would put a lot of businesses out of business, that should show you everything right there. Society is made to kill your drive. Don't be one of these people that get their drive killed by society. That's all I'm going to say. Getting into the next thing, and like I said, I have two more left. One of the biggest downfalls of many men is being too realistic, taking too many overly calculated decisions, or better yet, not being delusional enough in this life. And yes, I said delusional. Yes, I did say that, right? In this life, you need to be slightly delusional. And here's the thing: you need to be living within delusion, right? I'm not particularly delusional. Not your now what first comes to mind when it comes to being delusional. Not something that's super 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 unrealistic. For example, let me see if I can give you an example. I'll give you the example that I said earlier, right? When it comes to being too realistic, this is going to be one of the biggest downfalls of many men because they truly set a cap on their potential, right? For example, let's just say Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan believed that he could potentially be the best player that ever existed, right? If he was realistic, he'd say, "I'm going to try to be my best. Maybe I'll crack the top 100 players of all time." If he was being realistic, because to say, you know what, I'm going to strive to be the best that ever existed, right? That's unrealistic. If we're being real, right? That's unrealistic. But you must have this faith and belief within yourself, this phase of living within delusion where you truly believe you can achieve something great, right? Even if your current life circumstance wouldn't even suggest that you truly can achieve something great, if you don't have the belief that you truly can achieve something great, you definitely won't. You definitely won't, right? That's something that I would recommend for most men to go ahead and take. Yeah, just don't be too realistic, man. Of course, there's going to be certain aspects where you need to be realistic, but here's the thing: you can kill your potential by being too realistic. For example, if I'm being realistic, right? I could say that I'll never be successful with this podcast. That's me being realistic because truly most podcasts don't exist. Most podcasts that do exist aren't successful, right? But here's the thing: most podcasts that do exist truly do not have a person who has the mindsets that I have instilled within myself, who has the self belief that I have instilled within myself. So, like I said, if I'm looking at it from a realistic point of view, maybe I'll never be successful, right? But if I'm looking at it from the viewpoint that you should be looking at it, and the same viewpoint that I view this podcast with, this podcast isn't going to go as far as I take it. I'm a person who's never failed in anything that I truly want to go ahead and succeed in. And with that being said, I'm going to succeed within this podcast, even though most podcasts don't make it. Most podcasts truly don't succeed, but I'm not one of those things. See, those certain mindsets, those certain beliefs that I have instilled within myself are going to put me in a better position, right? Never be too realistic with this life, because if you are, you might just set a cap on your potential. That's the last thing you want to do. Getting into the next thing, one of the biggest downfalls of many men, this is going to be the unwillingness to evolve, right? I would say this is probably going to be, in some capacity, probably one of the biggest downfalls of many men for sure. A lot of men are satisfied, and it brings me back to my first point that I mentioned early on within the podcast. This is going to be comfort and settling instead of striving for the greater version of yourself, right? This unwillingness to evolve is going to be, yeah, it's truly going to be one of the biggest downfalls of many men, right? I really don't have too much to say for that. Yeah, if you're unwilling to evolve, if you're unwilling to change the ways in which you are right now, if you're truly not satisfied with where you are, but you're unwilling to evolve, unwilling to make the changes necessary, unwilling to sacrifice the things that needs to be sacrificed, unwilling to take the deep dive into the grander scope of your life, you're going to be living a super sad reality and living one of the biggest downfalls that ever existed within mankind. And you'll see, like I said, observe that. You need to do these things for yourself, right? I'm just giving you all my observations. I want you to go ahead and make an observation for yourself. The people who truly haven't achieved anything great within your life, right? Do they have an unwillingness to evolve in some type of capacity? Do they have an unwillingness to sacrifice things that they need to sacrifice? Probably. Don't be like one of these people, because if you are like one of these people, you're going to be living life just like everybody else. That's what it's going to come down to. Like I said, if you're satisfied with that, go ahead, man. Go ahead and do it yourself, man. Leave the success for me, man. Leave the success for me. Leave the success for the people that listen to this advice, right? But with that being said, that's the last one I'll leave you guys off with, right? The unwillingness to evolve. If you want something to change within this life, you must change yourself first. If you want something that's greater than the circumstance that you're in right now, you must change yourself first, because here's the thing. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and expecting a different result. Do not be living within insanity. Be realistic And like I said, even if it's uncomfortable, you still need to go ahead and do these things. You still need to go ahead and avoid these things that I mentioned on today's podcast. Like I said, maybe hearing this the first time, maybe this is very, very uncomfortable for you, but nonetheless, you need to hear it. Like I mentioned, this is one of the descriptions in the podcast, right? I'm here to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, right? Everybody else around me and everybody else around you is telling you exactly what you want to hear. They might have a lot more fans than I do, but nonetheless, at least you know I'm telling you the truth, I'm telling you what you need to hear, man. You can either respect that, or you can be turned off by that. But at the end of the day, you live the life that you will live based off of the decisions that you make. And nonetheless, I'm just giving the advice that I wish I had for my future self, and also the advice that I wish I had at an earlier age, and also the advice that I wish I take within the future. That's pretty much what I have to say for today's podcast. Appreciate everyone for stopping by. Like I said, if you're watching this, definitely let me know. If you are in the comments right now, if you're watching this live, definitely let me know. I'm gonna go and end it off here soon. But this was episode 147 of the Life of a Champ podcast, discussing the greatest downfalls of many men. But like I said, I'll leave you guys off. I'll give you like 2 more minutes, and then I'll go ahead and end it off. But appreciate everyone for stopping by. Like I said, if you're watching this, make sure you go and leave a like. Also, let me know about your favorite part of the podcast. Gio, appreciate you for stopping by, man. But yeah, this is definitely one to watch and definitely one to go ahead and avoid, right? I've learned a lot of different things from a lot of the books that I've read, and this is one thing that I see frequently talked about, and so I wanted to make my own list, talking about the things that I think is very, very important for sure. When's the next guest? That's a good question. We'll see. Hopefully Thursday. We'll see what's good with it. But we're gonna see what's good with it, man. But yeah, appreciate everyone for stopping by. Like I said, if you guys have a suggestion for the next podcast topic, let me know. I'm definitely open to hearing your guys' suggestions for sure. And yeah, like I said, if you guys taken anything from this podcast, let me know in the comments as well. If there's a favorite part, definitely let me know for sure. All right. When's the next guest? I'm definitely going to have some on next week, but hopefully I have one on Thursday. So, yeah, definitely tap in with the podcast on Thursday. Should be a good one. And hopefully here soon, I'll be having another music live stream. I'm waiting for the Drizzy album. I'm waiting for the Drizzy album. That's going to be one of the next music live streams that I go ahead and do. If you like music, I do a music live stream every so often. I try to do it at least once a week. Either listening to music that I love to listen to, or maybe listening to some new music that's popular right now. But nonetheless, love to have a good time, man. So if you like music and want to tap in, let me know for sure. Definitely tap in for sure. But other than that, I appreciate everyone stopping by. I'm gonna go ahead and end it off. I'll leave you guys off with the podcast motto. Fellas out here, man, we don't just work around here, man. We outwork. So make sure you outwork these motherfuckers, because you know that I am. I'm about to go to the gym here in a minute. Get back to the grind, man. Get back to the grind. You already know what time it is, man. But other than that, you guys have a good rest of your nights. Tap in with the podcast on Thursday. Like I said, pay attention to the advice that I gave today, man. Avoid the downfalls of many men. There's plenty of things that you truly can observe within other men and other people that have came before you that have truly probably contributed to something that I mentioned today. Or maybe, hopefully, there's going to be something else that you can contribute to this list for your own. But other than that, you guys have a good rest of your night. Tap in with the podcast on Thursday. And make sure y'all work with these motherfuckers, man. Simple.